Here are three theorems, and the only three theorems we're going to be looking at for a special trapezoid called an isosceles trapezoid. So, if you look at the picture right here, what makes this an isosceles trapezoid is that the legs are congruent. Okay, remember the bases are the parallel sides, and the legs are congruent. So, here's three theorems associated with that. First one, if the quad is an isosceles trapezoid, then the base angles are congruent. And what that means is each pair of base angles are congruent. So the ones in red down here, is congruent to D, and angle B is congruent to angle C, the blue ones on the top. Theorem number two says, if a trapezoid has one pair of congruent base angles, then the trapezoid is isosceles. Okay, so if it has, and this is kind of the converse of this first one, if it has two base angles that are congruent, then these sides have to be congruent. And the last one, a trapezoid is isosceles if and only if its diagonals are congruent. Okay, now the phrase if and only if is a new one to us. We haven't really talked about that at all in geometry. But basically what that means is this. A trapezoid is isosceles if its diagonals are congruent, or if a trapezoid's diagonals are congruent, then it has to be isosceles. So it works both ways is the idea behind that theorem. So you'll be using this theorem in some of your exercises, and this is our second video on trapezoids.